been a minute.
That's right. But I like that you're ringside. Can we still call it ringside? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what we call it.
I don't know what I was about to see tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to be in a cage, a ring, or an octagon.
We're going to be in the square circle tomorrow, and they're going to toe the line, baby.
Now listen, when I see retired fighters sniffing around where there's new knuckles being thrown,
Right.
I always got to ask a question. Why are you here?
Right.
And are we about to see you on the next bare-knuckle card?
Oh, no, I'm here for one reason only, to commentate. I ain't getting nowhere near it, man.
You know, look, I'm covering this thing for the first time like most people are. I'm assuming you're commentating for the first time.
No, I started with them last year, so I've been here. This is my 6th show. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I came on in the beginning, yes.
So how does this compare then to how fighters have to prepare for a boxing match that we're accustomed to? When I heard bare knuckle, I'm so dumb. I thought it was like, oh, they're gonna be hand wraps, like Fight Club or something. No, these knuckles are bare.
Yeah, bare. Okay.
How does that compare for a fighter like Paulie as opposed to having no padding whatsoever? Does it make the game very different?
I think it makes this fight different because Paulie has always been, have chronic hand injuries, even with gloves on. So that's going to be something very closely I'm going to be watching. Can Paulie punch effectively without hurting himself? This fight can end on an injury, because we know that these guys are breaking their hands during comeback. Because in boxing, we aren't really concerned about throwing our hands in fear of hurting the guy once you land. You got to be cautious of that. You hit the guy on a bone or something, or on the cranium or the skull, you can hurt your hand and be out of the fight.
Now, I just looked up the odds. Paulie's like a 2-1 favorite, but he's been out of the ring in like 3 years. And Lobov, he just fought last time, right?
He just fought and was very impressive last time.
Do you agree with those odds? You see Paulie as a favorite?
In bare knuckle, I don't think he's the favorite because I know his issues. I know his issues from his professional career. He's always been plagued with hand problem, and I think if Paulie pulls out or stops early before a technical knockout or knockout, it'll be because he hurt his hand. That's a real chance of happening here in bare knuckle.
I saw the last fight from these guys, Lobov and this promoter. I couldn't tell the difference between the winner and the loser after the fight was done. This is really brutal. The cuts that are possible in this kind of fight. I mean, how gruesome are we expected to see these guys get tomorrow night?
From what I've seen, it happens. It happens a lot. I can just think about some of the fights I've seen up close, man. It's been entertaining if that's what you like. You like a blood sport like that, entertaining, it is. These fights are competitive, and I'm telling you, the fans go crazy. I mean, this thing, I think, found a lane. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going anywhere because, we're just missing the big names to really get over here and make a run at it. But I think they're here to stay, man. It's interesting.
Now, in your prime, if this was a money-making avenue, could you see yourself bare-knuckle brawling?
You got to ask yourself, that's how I came up street fighting. You know what I mean? We ain't have time to put on the gloves back in the day. You know what I mean? You had to get it from the mud. And I think, hey, I can hold my own anytime. As long as we're using these, I'm good.
Now, I know that right now you wish you were in that heavyweight mix because there's so much money there. There's upsets happening. Just before we get into the details of all these different champions and upsets, who do you think, first of all, is the king of the heavyweight division now?
Right now, you would have to say Wilder, and I say that because he got a draw against Tyson Fury, even though a lot of people want to say that was a disputed draw. I don't agree with the disputed draw. I think Wilder held on to his titles. And when you look at what Ruiz just did to AJ in dominating fashion, Wilder is the king of the heavyweight division. And I say that because he's willing to fight the best. The man say, bring on King Kong, a guy that gave him his toughest fight. But Wilder knocked out one of the top heavyweights in the world. After he just destroyed Brazil with one punch, is a guy that it took a minute for AJ to get out of there. I just think Wilder has shown more improvement, even though he still needs to sharpen up his tools a little bit and work on the basics, the technical stuff. And once he do that, man, I think he still can improve and get better. He's going to be a nightmare for any of those heavyweights to contend with.
Now, one of your many claims to fame is being thought of as a guy who dethroned the great Roy Jones. That wasn't as big an upset as Ruiz, but What is it about a challenger? Like, what do you think was the difference? What was the margin in that fight with Joshua and Ruiz that gave Ruiz the win?
I disagree with you in how big my upset was. Yeah, it was way bigger than that. Way bigger than AJ ain't proven yet. You just saw that. Roy Jones had years of domination. It can't compare. And you ain't gonna never see a fighter come through and take the crown like I did. Never in your wildest dreams. So if you wanna go back and see that, rewind the tape. You ain't gonna never see nobody come take the crown like the Magic Man did. That's it. Nah, there's no bigger knockout than that other than Mike Tyson probably.
Wow. So
that's it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
What was it, though, you think that was a problem for Joshua that night, or what was it that was so great about Ruiz that got him the win?
Well, what I saw, Joshua came unprepared. He wasn't prepared physically, he wasn't prepared mentally for a tough fight. He thought, and they thought, trainer, manager, and promoter alike, that he could just turn it on and blow Ruiz out at any time. It's a big mistake they made. And it wasn't just his trainer that let him down, his whole camp let him down because they didn't pay attention to details, what a great trainer should do when you're working with your fighter. Pay close attention to detail. Don't put that man in there mentally unprepared and physically unprepared because you get what you got, upset and knocked out.
There's two more guys that are claiming to be the greatest in the heavyweight division right now who are on a collision course for the rematch with each other. Obviously, I'm talking about Wilder and Fury. You're right, the draw was disputed. The rematch is on. How do you see the rematch going?
Well, I think Wilder is really challenging himself. He's fighting Ortiz, and look who's Fury fighting. Fury ain't fighting nobody. Come on, man. He hadn't fought nobody since he came back other than Wilder, so he's not testing himself. They're protecting Tyson Fury to try to make sure that he gets to the rematch. But he ain't fighting those guys out there that he should be fighting. Fight White. Give one of those bigger names guys an opportunity. Don't bring us Schultz. What's the guy named? Schwartz. Don't bring us that. Come on, man. You know, don't fool the world with a 20. What, the guy was undefeated? So what? He's undefeated. That don't mean nothing. Fight a proven fighter.
You are one of the fighters that is synonymous with technique and skill. You definitely go in there with a game plan. Wilder's not known quite that way, although you do rate him as the top heavyweight champion in the division. Does his challenges with Fury, his big punch, outweigh the challenges of fighting such a technical fighter? How does he overcome that?
No, I think, you know what, he'll never be able to outbox Fury. So let's stop that. Everybody know his style is unorthodox. So why is everybody surprised that he wasn't able to outbox Fury? They know he's not a technical fighter. But what he has is enough. He has dominating power, and if he can put become a little bit more defensively responsible, that's what I can teach. You know, he can become a complete fighter, and I think he has that growth in him. Wilder does. I think he has that growth. I think we've seen the best of Fury, even though Fury looked good against a unmatched opponent. He blew a guy out that he should have blown out. So I wasn't really impressed, other than he got a guy out of there that didn't belong in the ring with him at all anyway.
I heard you say that I could teach. You feel like you could teach these heavyweights something? Could you imagine yourself as a trainer in one of these corners?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I have the communication ability. I have the experience at every level. What's up, Danny boy? What's up, baby? That's my guy. My man, my cut guy right here.
There we go. Yeah. You don't need you tomorrow night. There's going to be a lot of cuts.
Yeah, of course. I'm a natural at this. I've been trained by the very, very best. And
who would you most like to train if you have any fighter?
It ain't about who I want to train. It's about who can use this knowledge and experience. I mean, I ain't looking for nobody. It's going to happen in time. You know what I mean? But all I need is an opportunity. And we're going to run with it. You know, you can look at my son and see that he's been taught well. He ain't never had no amateur experience, but look at him. He's technically sound. He does, he has the fundamentals down pat. And that's what I train, that's what I teach, because that's the way I was taught.
Well, we know why you have that microphone tomorrow night, because you got the gift of gab and the skills to analyze this sport like no other. Before I let you go, we're right on the cusp of Manny Pacquiao and Thurman. A lot of trash has been talked. You know, Pacquiao is at the end of his career, even by his own definition. Does he have enough to beat Thurman? Is Thurman, outmatched on July 20th? How do you see it?
I think this is a pick'em fight, and I'll tell you why. If you look at Thurman lately, his best asset has always been his legs to move himself in and out of trouble. He throws punches from awkward angles while moving, but Pacquiao has good legs as well. I think if Thurman's going to win this fight, he's going to have to maintain ring generalship and control the distance. Control the distance. If he allows Pacquiao to get inside of him, I think that's very risky for Thurman because Pacquiao throws in combination punches, and he still has power in both hands. So I think if anybody gets hurt and knocked out, it's a chance Thurman could if he's not really controlling that distance and allowing Manny Pacquiao to have moments. He can't do that. He's going to have to use his ring generalship distance and box Manny Pacquiao. He can't mix it up with Manny. I think Manny still has the power in this fight.
A lot of people don't know how few fighters actually get to where you are in the sport, in the ring, and then outside the ring. You've managed to build a career on the microphone. Obviously, you still have your wits about you. You're a very sharp, smart individual. I wonder what Antonio Tarver today would say to a young Antonio Tarver stepping in the ring for his pro debut. If you could impart one bit of wisdom to that kid, what would you say?
Well, times was different then, man. I was so hungry, man. I mean, just determined to just beat everything standing in front of me. I would say trust a little bit more. That's it. Just trust a little bit more. I had been, I had been so guarded, and from opening up to some people that had my best interests at hand. I should have been a little bit more trusting. That's all. Because this is a tough business. It's a tough business, man. I've learned a lot. It's made me a better man in every aspect of my life, and from a business standpoint, it's taught me everything, man. Boxing, it's taught me everything. It's like, hey, when you get knocked down, you got to be able to get back up. That's in life. Don't ever count yourself out. As long as you wake up, you got a shot at it. You got a chance. So don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing. That's all I can say.
As a young man watching you pursue that career, win those championships, one of the biggest upsets in boxing history.
And keep God first, man. Everything you do, keep God first for sure.
It's a pleasure to see a fighter working in and outside the ring. The magic of Antonio Tarver here at Bare-Knuckle. Tomorrow night, we're going to see you ringside. Radio Rahim with Antonio Tarver.